Hey guys, it is Cathulta here. It is time for an update. I want to try and keep this as short as possible. So first of all, it's been 2 months since I last made a video. At the time we were worth 50 million. We are now worth, this is not the screen I wanted to show you, this is the screen I wanted to show you. We are now worth 209 million. So I doubled my company value within a month and then doubled it again in the last month, and I hope to double it again in the next month, but that is almost definitely not going to be possible. I think that probably I will be able to make another 100 million over the next month, but going beyond that would be very optimistic, and but I'm hoping to maintain this kind of trajectory, because what I would love to do as soon as possible is take number one from the 2023 rankings. So we're currently in fourth. I broke into this board about 3 maybe 4 weeks ago, and I've just been moving up and up ever since. Having said that though, this guy came out of nowhere, started after I started, at least in terms of when he reset, even though he's got about 3 years of experience on me, lots of bonuses and starting in terms of the starting over bonus, and he has 3 pay-to-win buildings. Regardless, he started after me, he's catching me, and I have to try and keep ahead of him, while also taking down all these guys that started far, far sooner than I did and also have wealth of experience at their disposal. So I'm very proud to be where I am, and I hope to be number one at some point, but I do have to bear in mind that this guy is also chasing me at a rate of knots. Um, so that's the essential bit of the update. In terms of the map, lots of electronic factories have now gone. Used to have 6, they're all gone. To make it nice and simple for you to understand, if these were all level 10 buildings, including electronics factory, let's just say I had one, and that was also level 10, the electronic factory would be making me about 50 to 60k a day. The aerospace electronics, when I'm making satellites, are making me about 100k a day. The hangars are making me 200 to 300k a day through luxury jets. The propulsion factory was making me 150k a day. It's now actually close to 50k a day. I'll explain that in a second. And then vertical integration of facility is a complete unknown quantity to me. When I did the initial maths, it looked like really good money. What I forgot to take into account, though, was that to make it work, I need 2 buildings, and this building is basically not making me any money whatsoever. Not only because I'm using the product of the building, but also if I was to sell this on the market, I don't actually know what it sells for, because no one ever sells it on the market, no one ever buys it on the market, or rather people try to buy it but have stopped trying to buy it because it's just so hard to buy, because everyone who produces them would rather just use them for themselves. And when you're making them at worst, in this case, let's just have a look at a 24-hour cycle. Well, okay, no, that didn't work. About one. Okay, I need to buy some ions. Let's just quickly buy a couple of ions at the worst possible rate, which, by the way, is something that I'm going to talk about at the end of this video, and which will hopefully help you somewhat. Oh my God. Okay, I'm not buying those. Forget that. But the point is that let's say I produce these at 100k per unit. Well, it allows me to make a decent amount of profit to just then make the suborbital rocket. So it just doesn't make sense for you to sell second stages. It just makes more sense to then use them and produce the rocket itself. So yeah, with that explanation, hopefully it's really obvious why I got rid of the electronic factories and why I now have basically 6 hangars in their place, literally number for number. Why would I have a building that's making me 50 to 60k when I could have a building making me 200 to 300k? And that's why I'm making luxury jets right now. Also, obviously, if they ever fall out of grace, which right now they're in the middle of doing because we've moved into recession, I could always move into jumbo jets or SEPs, whatever is making money at that point in time. With the satellite building, still don't know what's better, satellites or attitude controls, but I really don't care at this point. Satellites is the way it is. Just remember that whatever income I generate from my map is passive income, and I do a whole other side of things, which is proactive income, and the proactive income side of things is nothing I will ever talk about, or at least at this stage I'm not ready to talk about it. We'll only ever be talking about passive income. But still, 100k, good passive income, I'll take it. There's an argument to be made to turn these into hangars. You know, if I did it with electronic factories, why wouldn't I do it with the aerospace electronics? Why certainly wouldn't I do it with propulsion factory now? Well, propulsion factory more likely to go, but with aerospace electronics, I just like the idea of not having all my eggs in one basket. There will be a time where luxury jets just don't cut the mustard, and maybe then jumbo jets and SEPs come in to save the day. But if not, if satellites is actually what starts to make more money than anything else, well then fantastic. I've got 5 of those. So I'm not saying I won't change things for certain. I'm just saying that for now, I'm happy with the way things are. Um, and then so that's about it in terms of a quick update. But 2 things I thought I'd quickly just speak to you about, just in terms of, I always keep saying that I'm going to make some tips and tricks videos. I really just can't be bothered to do them, especially in short format. So I'm just going to talk about my tips and tricks just in the middle of certain videos. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is recession and basically economy phases. You've got recession, you've got normal, you've got boom, and everyone understands how these work on a basic level, right? Basically, recession means that we produce more goods, supply goes up, and theoretically demand goes down. The reality is that depending on what business you're in, the demand probably isn't changing at all. The only reason demand changes is because people actually just stop wanting to do whatever industry that it is that they're in, and they want to move into something else. So for example, at one point I needed lots of chemicals and silicone and gold bars for my HGCs, and I used to have a map full of HGCs. But even when I fell into recession, it didn't make me want to stop making HGCs. I would still need them. In fact, anything, I needed more products. So there was greater demand as well as greater supply, because in order to make the greater demand, the greater supply, I need more product. I have a greater demand for product to make the product I'm making. I'm mixing up my words now. Anyway, we're not talking about it from a simplistic point of view, but what I thought I would discuss is the various different levels of recession. I think we all need to understand, if it hasn't really quite dropped with you yet, if the penny hasn't dropped, and that is that there are multiple levels of recession, there's multiple levels of normal, there are multiple levels of boom, and right now we're at a point where we are somewhere in between normal and recession. And that is to say that prices have not gone down completely. They have gone down, no argument about that. If you are in aerospace, you will know that luxury jets have plummeted. That soars are actually fairly stable. SEPs are not too bad. Satellites not too bad. Jumbo jets are seemingly all over the place. There are people really trying to get massive discounts on jumbo jets, and then there is another crop of people that actually produce jumbo jets that are just not having any of it. So jumbo jets are just all over the place. Sometimes you'll see people wanting to buy them for like quality 3 at 212k, and then on the flip side, you got people wanting to sell them for like 330k. There's no middle ground at this stage yet. It's just all over the place, and it is day one of a full day one of the recession. It's Saturday today. But yeah, but what I mean by multiple levels of recession is that if we go into a week two recession, you better bet on there being even better prices. I've used that word too much in that one sentence, but the prices are going to get a lot better. They're going to get a lot cheaper in a second week of recession, just as they will in the third week of recession. And I think it's just something for you to understand from a basic point of view of, look, I've got all this capital, and it makes sense for me to start buying goods as cheaply as possible that I may need in the next phase. So good to stock up on these cheap materials that I will then ultimately start using during the normal phase. That's a brilliant idea, absolutely fantastic. But there's a risk. The risk is that actually the prices go further down because we go into a second week of recession. And if we go into a second week recession, the prices are going to go down, and then you're left with actually these goods that you thought were cheap that are not so cheap anymore. They're actually more expensive than the new norm. So it's something to bear in mind that actually the best recession prices are to be had from about 3 weeks of recession onwards. So fingers crossed from my point of view that we remain in recession for as long as possible, because I love recession. Recession is great for what I do on the side, which is ultimately trading. It's where I'm going to get goods really, really cheap. It's also frankly good for a producer. I mean, it doesn't matter whether I trade or not. As a producer, if I want to hopefully have maybe one, maybe two, maybe even 3 weeks of being able to make luxury jets at recession prices, even though the phases may continue to go up into normal and boom, well, that's brilliant, isn't it? So I've got a large amount of wealth at my disposal. If I want to, I can probably release 200 million cash at literally any given point. And then spend it all on the various things that I need to produce luxury jets. So gold bars, cockpits, I'll just stock up on all these materials. Easier said than done, though. Fuselages are very, very hard to get the quantity that you actually want, because they are built in such low quality quantities. But for everything else, it's easy to stockpile on cockpits, the golden bars, the wings, and even the jet engines. Even right now, yesterday I had probably a surplus of 200 units. Now I have a surplus of about 2,200 units. So the amount of jet engines I've acquired in just the last 24 hours is huge. But it's still just a very small amount of the wealth that I'm keeping hold of. And if we then go into a second week of recession, you better believe that I'm going to be spending a lot more of the capital I have into these items. And slowly, as we deepen into recession, I will have more and more of my capital invested into these kind of items. But week one recession is not the week that you want to go all in. Yes, you may theoretically benefit if we go straight back into normal, then yes, you benefited. But I would rather hedge my bets on there being a week two recession than going back into normal, even though I don't think the probability works that way. And I think it's more probable we go back into normal. It is what it is. I rather take the risk and only buy a small amount of goods at this stage. The second thing I want to discuss is the variance in buying price. I think this is something that very few people understand. They understand it to a basic level, the level that's really obvious to them. And so what I mean is that every product has a base cost, right? So the base cost of, let's say, a quality 6, whatever this is, ion drive is 11,600. So that's the base price. What a lot of people then consider to be a discount is the discount on the base price. So, for example, if I can then talk to someone in a sales chat who was selling quality 6 iron drives at this phase, at this stage rather, any quality of iron drive, frankly. But if I can find someone that will sell me a certain quality of iron drive that I need, well, then they'll sell it to me hopefully at a discount of that base price, be it 1%, 2%, 3%. And so that's what ideally you want to do. You want to be social. You want to find people and build relationships and have people then sell you the goods that you need at a reduced rate. But the one thing that I think people forget about, and even I didn't really actively think about until very recently, is what is the flip side? What is the downside to then buying off the market? And there is massive downside, and I think it depends on the product as well, but there are in some cases massive downsides, as I'm now going to explain. So I've got 4 hangars here. I've actually got 6, but 2 of them haven't been operational. They will be in 47 minutes time. I'll start producing my very first luxury jets from these 2 later today. But with the ones I had, I've had these for at least now 2 3 weeks, these for about 2 3 weeks, this for about 4 5 weeks. So all in all, the 4, I've had them for together for about the last 2 to 3 weeks. Now this hanger here is usually the one that I start production with. It's the very first hanger I go into. It may be just an OCD thing, I don't know, but I always go to this hanger first for some reason, just like I'll always go into this aerospace electronics building first for some reason. But yeah, so this is where I then have a large stockpile of goods that I've bought throughout the day. And so usually I can build my luxury jet straight away at whatever the cost is of having bought these materials. So in this case, 77,400. But as I get to this one, and it doesn't actually show here because I did this run a lot better, but I'm still paying more. I'm still paying a slightly more, very slight, but still I'm paying. Actually, am I paying more? 77,300. No, I'm paying less. What happened there? I have no idea. Here we go. Here's a better example. 77,600 compared to this actually being the lowest, 77,400. Now, it's a very minute difference. It's not something to really worry about, but there was a point where I was building luxury jets here at 77k per unit, selling them at 83k unit, therefore making 6k unit, producing approximately 50 of these every single day, giving me 300k profit. This one was about the same, the second hanger that I was then going into. By the way, I think you can't see my mouse, so I'm probably pointing at things you can't even see. Um, but yeah, my second hanger was also producing roughly around 300,000. But then my next hanger, I was producing my luxury jets at around 79k per unit, so 2k more. And the reason I was having to do that was because I had run out of fuselage from the supply that I'd bought from people, and I was now having to buy from the market. So I'm buying it at what I would then refer to as the baseline, but it wasn't the baseline, and that's something that I will explain again just a little bit more in a second. But I was buying these fuselage, so the cost was going up. And by the time I got to this building, the 4th building, I was building them at 81k a unit. So 4k more, and therefore only making 2k profit per unit, which at 50 a day is 100k. So I've then got 2 hangars that are producing 300k profit. I've got 1 hangar that's producing, what is that, 79k, so basically 200k profit, and then another one producing 100k profit. So there's a big variance, a very big variance, and that's ultimately costing me 300k a day, which in the grand scheme of things is a lot of money. Now, let's go back to the baseline, because again, you're either buying at a discount or you're buying at the theoretical baseline, but are you buying at the baseline? This is the bit that I only really started to think about recently. And again, it's really simple to understand, so why I haven't thought about this sooner? For all I know, I'm explaining something that all of you are thinking, well, yeah, Neil, how did you not realize this sooner rather than later? But it is what it is, and so this is the point. This is the baseline for a fuselage right now, 2,880. Good price, 168 units. But In the scenario that I gave you, a very real scenario that happened to me, I've got a deficit of 1,500 fuselage. Am I getting 1,500 at this price? No, absolutely not. I'm getting, what is this, 175, 185 for 2,880. That's not enough. I need 1,500. That is what I need to buy from the market to be able to fill the deficit. And I'm going to a cost of 2,920. So my average price, just making it up because I'm not going to work it out properly, but my average price is 2,900, and 1% of this is $28. So, and well, obviously then this would be a 20% increment on the baseline. So I'm paying, let's just round it up, I'm paying about 1% more above the baseline. So let's say I was getting a 1% discount on the first 1,500, but then I'm paying 1% above the baseline for the next 1,500. So I'm making absolutely nothing in terms of the benefit of buying through the market, because actually it's just averaging out to me buying at the exact baseline. That's where the problem is. That's where you lose money. You lose money because you're not getting everything at a discount. And the worst case scenario is not you going into the market and buying at the baseline. The worst case scenario is you having to buy all of these at significantly more than the baseline, going up to $40 more, and actually for quite a large amount of them as well. Like, I was being generous when I said it was 1% more. It's closer to 1.5% because I'm still buying what, that's about 700. Actually, no, I'm going to stick to that. The baseline is still around 1%, but still an enormous amount of them are coming to me at a cost of 2,920. That's the bit you need to be worried about. If I do the same with jet engines, it's probably not as bad. Get the quality twos. I need 200 extra for the surplus buildings. I did find myself at a point where I needed to get that, get get the get the additional jet engines from the marketplace. So I would have had to pay 2,850 baseline, but then $20 more than the baseline, $30 more than the baseline to be able to get the full deficit that I needed. And obviously, if we're talking about gold bars are the worst, the absolute worst. It's not as much, you don't need as much. Well, again, I would have needed 200. Let's say it was the exact same. I didn't have the gold bars for the building 3 and the building 4. Then I need 200 gold bars. So I'm buying it 6450, 6475, 6475. But we can't consider this to be the baseline when it comes to gold bars, because while there is just a very small cost to transport with jet engines and fuselage, what we have to understand is that actually I'm not looking at a 1, 2, 3% discount on gold bars all the time. Sometimes I'm looking at far more than that, and actually asking for a 3% is more normal on a gold bar than it would be for a fuselage. Because with a fuselage, there's no reason for someone to give you the full 3% discount. There's very little benefit from them, so you're more likely to agree to 2%. Whereas with gold bars, you're more likely to agree to 3% because there's an understanding that I'm going to benefit from the 3% discount because you're not having to get charged tax, but you're then going to benefit from the less transport that's going to be required to send those goods to me. So that's where you benefit and that's where I benefit. Well, if you're buying off the exchange, you're buying at full price. You're not getting the bigger discount that you would otherwise get with gold bars, because your buyer isn't having to worry about transport costs because they've already thrown that money away. They're going to be paying for transport whether they like it or not, plus tax on top of that. So this is the highest of the highest. So you really want to get it right when it comes to gold prices. And obviously it all adds up. And that's the difference between making 100k profit from your hangar and 300k profit from your hangar. And now that I've got 2 additional hangars as well, let me tell you, finding 750 fuselage per building, so that's 4,500 fuselage a day, is tough. It is very, very difficult. And so what I need to do is I need to be very, very good with finding more suppliers to find me those fuselage, to sell me those fuselage. And every single time someone sells me a fuselage, what I need to be doing more proactively, I need to go back to them. I need to thank them, and I need to say, I need you to send me those fuselage every single day. I need you to pin me on your comments, on your chat stuff. I need you to pin me so that you never forget who I am. You know that I'm your guy, okay? You're going to come to me every single time that you've got fuselage. And you've also got to hash out a deal that works for both of you. It can't be 3% on fuselage. It needs to be 1 to 2%. 2% is what we should really be aiming for, because there has to be a benefit to them. Because if there is no benefit to them and they're giving you the full 3% discount, all it takes is that one person to come around the corner and say, well, I'll offer you a 2% discount, and you've lost that seller. And that person's going to be me, by the way. If any of you let your contracts drop, I'll come in with a 2% offer. You may come in onto my deals with a 1% offer, but then that's screwing yourself over as well. 2% is what's fair, so 2% is what I'm going to offer. Um, the reason I thought I'd mention all of that is because that's also how I think I'm going to get into this top eight eventually. I don't know when it will be. It will be maybe a couple of years in the future, maybe even longer than that. But I feel like it's possible to get on this board. And the reason I feel it's more possible is because I look at people like Gajan Korp, who's currently number one on the board. He is spending an average of 20 million a day because this is a monthly figure. So he's spending about 20 million a day. And he is therefore spending 20 million, not getting a 1, 2, 3% discount, not buying at the baseline, but buying at maybe 1, maybe even 2% more than the baseline. And that's where I can make the difference. If I can put myself in this guy's position, but buy everything from people, and I'm getting it at a 2% discount, and he's paying 2% above the baseline, and therefore it's a 4% differential across 2 years. That's what's going to make up the gap. I know it's a massive gap to make up, to think that someone can go from 200 million to 11 billion or wherever he'll be in the future. I mean, it's ludicrous to think that's even possible. But if it's going to be possible, it's going to be him continuing to buy off the market, and it's going to be me making sure that I never ever have to dip into the market. Initially, right now, I'm definitely going to have to dip into the market, but it's building those relationships, building those suppliers that's going to get me to a point where I then hopefully don't have to be reliant on the market and buying above the baseline. That's what's going to allow me to be here. Also, I just need to figure out what this guy is doing, because let's be honest, Gaijin Corp in the next couple of years is not going to be the number one player. This guy's going to be the number one player, because whatever he's doing, I mean, he's making waves and he's going to be the competition for the future. But fortunately for me, he's also on this list. And then, you know what, just to throw it out there, even though I really shouldn't be creating enemies, what the hell is this guy and this person doing, this lady doing? I mean, they're buying and selling off the market, and I mean, guys, the title of this video I think will be apt, especially looking at those two companies. But this is a social game. Remember that there are lots and lots of games that you can go play solo elsewhere. But if you are having to be that dependent on the market, where you're buying and selling a lot of your goods on the market rather than just creating relationships, this is the wrong game for you. Time to find something else. May I suggest City Skylines 2, which is an absolutely fantastic game, which is exactly what I'm going to be playing as soon as I've finished uploading this video. Guys, until next time, see you around.